Merci, Monsieur Gross. Il vous restera donc quelque chose comme 8 minutes 47, disons 9 minutes. Monsieur Funda, vous avez la parole.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Ladies and gentlemen, to present a report of the honoring of obligations and commitments by the Russian Federation is a difficult task to accomplish, not only because it's a country larger than several continents of the world, but also because it is a country plenty of contradictions, a country in which democracy and the rule of law have been built only in the last 20 years after experiencing long periods of Tsarist and communist dictatorships. The antagonistic feature of the Russian Federation stems from the fact that at the political level, on one hand, we have political parties and politicians eager to put Russia on the Europeanization, and here I want to mention our colleagues, and I want to thank them, to Mr. Slutsky and Pochinok, who we had a positive dialogue here in Strasbourg and Moscow also. And we have, on the other hand, nostalgic political parties and politicians that would like to revive the USSR, a country of contradictions in which some institutions, such the Ombudsman, who acts in compliance with the democratic rules, and the other ones, such as the judiciary or the Central Elections Commission, that are to great extent obeying the political power. Therefore, I believe that we should not relate the level of democracy, the rule of law, and the human rights situations only to our standards, but also to the moment the Russian Federation acceded to the Council of Europe in 1996 and to the latest report adopted on Russia in 2005. We must not forget that Council of Europe is the only European institution to which the Russian Federation belongs, and therefore we are the only ones that can directly influence the development of democracy in this country. With regard to the functioning of democracy, we welcome the fulfillment of a number of commitments, positive decisions, which especially emphasize to ratification of the European Social Charter, the moratorium on the death penalty decided by the Constitutional Court of Russia in 19 November 2009, the law on political parties adopted after the last parliamentary elections, which liberalization the rules of the registration of political parties, reduced the number needed to registration of political parties from 40,000 to 500. The number of signatures needed for a presidential candidate was reduced from 2 million to 100,000. Governor elections by direct vote was reintroduced. The electoral threshold for parliamentary elections was reduced from 7 to 5% from the forthcoming election. The Russian authorities accepted for the first time to submit to the Venice Commission a package of 5 laws and expressed their commitment to modify these laws in line with the recommendation made. With regard to the rule of law, we welcome the establishment of the investigation committee and its separation from the prosecutor office, the adoption of the Compensation Act, the reform of the prison system, and the implementation of some of the Strasbourg Court decision with our positive steps building the rule of law in the Russian Federation. In the same time, we regret the strengthening of the executive power and narrowing pluralism, despite a number of legislative initiatives by President Medvedev till 2010. We emphasize that the Russian Federation is the only member of the Council of Europe which still did not ratify Protocol number 6 concerning the death penalty. Since the adoption of the resolution 2005, we had 2 parliamentary and 2 presidential elections. All them, they had serious shortcomings identified both by national and international observers. Deficiencies and restrictive implementation of a number of laws crucial for the functioning of democratic institutions, in particular law on political parties and on freedom of the assembly, have resulted in the deterioration of conditions for real and genuine political pluralism. The outlawing of Republican Party in 2007 and the refusal of registration of some political parties, I think about Parnas, the harassment of the opposition, the ongoing refusal to authorize peaceful opposition demonstration, and the use of disproportionate force in order to disperse them have had negative effect on the stage of democracy in Russia. The judiciary in Russia still remains subject to political pressure. The criminal conviction of some defendants and the non-conviction in cases of harassment, beating, and assassination of human rights defenders, lawyers, journalists, and members of Jehovah's Witnesses and other confessions prove that the judiciary is not independent, and in some cases, their decisions are politically motivated. An example in such a situation is Mr. Khodorkovsky, who we met in a prison in Moscow and who was convicted in December 2010 to serve an additional 6 years of prison, and who, in my analysis, is a typical political prisoner. The murder of Mrs. Anna Politkovskaya and Mrs. Natalia Estemirova still remain unpunished, as well as her reports on torture and death in detention in case of Mr. Magnitsky and Mrs. Trifonova, and the continuous impunity of the perpetrators prove that the judiciary is neither objective nor independent. We firmly call for Russian authorities to identify and bring before the court those responsible for those crimes. The conviction of the members of Pussy Riot is also disproportionate. Even if a church is not a place for artistic performance or political manifestation, the conviction for 2 years of prison of the 3 young ladies with no previous conflict with criminal law is unacceptable, and thereby we demand their immediate release. The adoption of some laws after the recent parliamentary and presidential elections, like the law on foreign agents, the protest law, the law on criminalization of defamation, and the federal law on protecting children from information and harmful to their health and their development, contradict the minimum standards of the rule of law and the human rights. As we have shown, the Russian Federation has taken positive steps, but at the same time, laws and legal decisions have been adopted, posing serious threat to democratic principles. Therefore, I believe that the Council of Europe must continue monitoring the Russian Federation and helping it by providing its experience to meet the required standards in the previous resolution and in our present proposal. I am confident that without the Council of Europe assistance, the Russian Federation would have not reached today's standards, and then it needs our continuous effort in order to become a truly democratic country. On the other hand, the Council of Europe also needs Russian Federation's membership. Without our Council would not be complete. In this respect, the Assembly expects that the Russian authorities will continue on the path of democratization, amend the above-mentioned undemocratic law, and will refrain from taking any measures which may hinder democratic progress. Against this background, the Assembly resolves to pursue its monitoring of the honoring of an obligation by commitments of the Russian Federation until it receives evidence of substantial progress with regard to the issues raised in this and the previous resolutions. Thank you very much.